and welcome to another video. Now, if you didn't see my very late March favourites video, then you won't know why these videos are so late. So before we get into what is now my April favourites, even though we are in June, I just wanted to quickly explain what the problem had been. So I edit all my videos on iMovie, and for the last 3 videos I've had real issues with iMovie in that I've edited the videos, I've then gone to export them, and there's been media missing, files have been deleted. It's been a real mess. So this, I think, is my 3rd attempt at editing these videos together and getting them live. So that is why you're seeing them this late. And it's weirdly been all with favourite videos, and I'm not sure why that is. I think that's probably just a coincidence because they're what I film the most. I do one every month. So that is why you all have seen my May favourites before my April and my March favourites, and that is why you are seeing them this late. Anyway, I just wanted to explain that before we get into the actual video. There is a reason they are this late. Anyway, please enjoy. Hello lovely people, and welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name is Lauren. Welcome to my channel. Make yourself comfortable. So today we're going to do my April favourites, but before we get into that, I first want to explain my hair. Now, hopefully you can't see, but if you can, my roots desperately need doing. Now, the reason I haven't done them yet, because it's a pet peeve of mine, when my roots show, it drives me insane. But I'm actually a bridesmaid in 2 weeks' time. Now, if I do my roots now, there will be 2 weeks worth of regrowth. So I literally have to wait another week and then dye it. It's the same with my fringe. My fringe is ridiculously long, like I can't really see anymore. I've had to like curl it under so I can actually see today, but my fringe always looks better the week after it's been cut, so I have to wait until next week to get it done. So I'm kind of at a really weird in-betweeny time with my hair at the moment, so sorry about that. But yeah, April favourites time. I can't quite believe we're here. I know that's incredibly basic to say, but like seriously guys, we are over a quarter? Yeah, a quarter of the way through the year. We're getting close to half now. It's insane. Time is just a horrible thing that doesn't stop moving. It's not horrible, but you know, scary. Anyway, on that note, let's get into it, shall we? So my first favourite this month, I don't actually have a lot of beauty favourites. I've got, I think, maybe 3 and that's it. But my first favourite this month is the Illamasqua Inky Liner. I think it's actually called the Precision Ink Eyeliner Liquid. This is so good. First of all, I have to apologise for the state of this. Audrey got hold of this when I was still living with my mum. Audrey's a dog, and she chewed it. She didn't get any of it and she's fine, but yeah, she mangled the bottle a little bit. Anyway, this is kind of the month that I fell back in love with liquid liner. Now, I have worn liquid liner pretty much constantly since I was about 15, and now I'm 28. And yeah, and then for the past year, I just haven't been into it at all. Be right back. My camera's blinking. Sorry about that. I'm such a data hoarder that this happens almost every other video, where I forget how much crap there is on my memory card and then my camera will start flashing saying that it's got no space. So sorry about that. I've just had to delete a load of files, but I'm back and we should be fine for the rest of this video. Anyway, yeah, so I had kind of fallen out of love with wearing eyeliner. I'd wear it on special occasions, but I wasn't wearing it every day anymore, and especially the last couple of months, and especially when it comes to hay fever season, I just won't wear it because my eyes water constantly and it's horrendous, and it's so much worse if you have eyeliner on because it just goes everywhere and it's awful. But anyway, I've fallen back in love with wearing it every day. I'm wearing it now, as you can see, and this has been my sort of eyeliner of choice. It's got such an amazing formulation, so it's very black, it lasts until you want to take it off, it doesn't skip, it doesn't drag, none of that stuff. It's just a really, really good liner, and it's got such a fine sort of felt tip. Is it going to focus? Oh, it's not focusing. I will do close-ups of this anyway. There we go, there it is. But it's got a really fine felt tip that just allows you to get a really precise line. So I don't know why I'm showing you. This isn't actually it today. This is the Kat Von D one. But a really precise line where you can get sort of perfect the flicks without sort of any clumpiness. I know my main problem when I put eyeliner on is that I can always get one eye perfect, and it's usually this eye, I don't know why I'm pointing at that one, and one eye I can't really refine the tip enough, and this completely stops that problem. It's absolutely fantastic. It lasts amazingly well. I've probably already said that, but it is on until you choose to take it off. It's almost completely waterproof, so you do need sort of an oil-based cleanser to get rid of it, but it is amazing. Gutted that the bottle has been mangled, but other than that, it's pretty much perfect. On to my second favourite. So this is Kat Von D's Everlasting Liquid Lipstick in the shade Mother. I have had a long-term love affair with this lipstick. It was one of the first Kat Von D lipsticks I bought. It was this and also Nosferatu, which is another favourite. And I have worn this so much. But then I got Lovecraft, and Lovecraft is possibly my favourite lipstick ever, and I stopped wearing this as much. But since it's got sunnier and the weather's got better, I have completely fallen back in love with it and gone back to it. I'm wearing it today. It's this beautiful sort of raspberry pink. I have only good things to say about the Kat Von D makeup line. Well, not all of it, but especially the liquid lipsticks. They are my lipsticks of choice. I just love them. They are pigmented, they apply well, they dry down beautifully, they last a really long time. Now, I as a standard put lip coat on after every lipstick, but before I discovered lip coat, these were my go-tos because they just last really well. Without it, they last a really long time. So absolutely in love with this. I love the colour. It's such a perfect sort of raspberry summery pink. I wear it all year round, but especially in the summertime, I just really love it. And now for my last beauty favourite. It is the Mavala Doctor Who collection in Cyber Blue. I've actually got this on my nails today. Now, this is the most beautiful sort of glittery ice blue, and it has the most incredible formulation. It applies so smoothly and so beautifully. It's very well pigmented, 2 coats and you're done. And I really love it. The only thing I have to say about it is it's tiny. This is 5mm, so this will not last very long. In terms of how long it lasts on the nails, it's quite good. You get a good sort of 4 to 5 days wear time without a top coat. It's not a great one for layering, so it's good that you can do it in 2 coats, because any more than that and it bunches and it starts to get all, you know, clumpy and gross. And I mean, I've got 3 coats on this hand and it is chipped because I never learn, and I did my nails right before I set up my camera to film this, so they always get smudged and ruined when I do that. But yeah, it's really lovely. And in terms of glitteriness, it's not difficult to get off. It looks really pretty, and it's quite it's not subtle, but it's not chunky glitter. It's really fine pieces of glitter, and it comes off really easily. So I like it a lot, and I'm actually really surprised. I am not one for glitter polish. I prefer sort of creamy finishes, very glossy. I don't like glitter as a general rule, so I'm probably as surprised as you are that I love this as much as I do. But I really like it. I've worn it a lot this month. Oh, tell a lie, I've actually got 4 favourites, beauty favourites this month. I've got a ton of book favourites and so many sort of like pop culture favourites as per. But yes, my third secret favourite I don't actually have to hand because I dropped it and it completely smashed and I'm going to have to replace it. But it is an eyeshadow. It is the Manna Beauty eyeshadow in the shade Fantasy. Now, I tell a lie, I do have it here to show you, but you can see how smashed it is. I daren't open this because it will go everywhere, but it's just the most beautiful coppery eyeshadow. I was wearing this every day until I dropped it and I was absolutely gutted. It lasts beautifully on the eyes. It's got a really soft, crumbly formula, unfortunately, which is why it broke, but it just is so pretty. It's not, I've just done a swatch on my finger, but it's not going to focus. Yeah, it's not going to focus. It's just a really rich rusty gold copper colour. I love it so much. I'm so gutted that I broke it. Like, I'm going to have to get a new one. I think I got this in a glossy box about 5 years ago. Maybe not 5, maybe 2. But yeah, I've had it a while, and I think I just came across it when I was like in a rush putting my makeup on, and I really like it. Yeah, devastated it's broken. So now on to my book favourites, and there's a lot of them. There is 1, 2, 3, 4. There's at least 5. I've done a lot of reading this month. But the first one I want to talk about is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I absolutely loved this book. I actually featured it in a giveaway that I did at the beginning of the month as well. That's how much I liked it. It was like I liked it so much I immediately had to give it to other people. It's just the most wonderful unusual story. So basically it's written like it's a transcript from a documentary. So if you look at the page, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but it's like you can see people's names just before they say things. So it's very it's really bizarre in that sense, but incredible. Bizarre's not the right word. It's a very effective and unusual way of storytelling, but it's absolutely incredible. So basically it's about this band, the Six, how they formed. They talk about that, and then how Daisy Jones came to be part of the band and who they are. And it's just the most incredible, intoxicating, addictive story. Now if you are a music fan like I am, it's quite clear that this was inspired by Fleetwood Mac, particularly I think the making of the Rumours album, from my understanding of it. But it's just, I read this in a day. I started it and I completely devoured it. It's the best book I've read this year. I can't stress how much I loved it, and I know it's something that I will keep coming back to. It's just incredible. I can't say enough about how good it is, but it's just the most beautifully I do that in every video, and I'm sorry, it's my voice gets ahead of, my mouth gets ahead of my brain. Anyway, I think everyone should read this. I'm really disappointed that I can't experience this for the first time again. That's how much I loved it. I will come into this the next time I read it, and believe me, this is something that I will come back to again and again and again, and I will be excited to read it, but I won't experience it for the first time again. I'm sort of phrasing myself really badly, but it's, oh, I've just knocked my sorry, I've just knocked my tripod. But anyway, this is just the most incredible book, and it's also beautiful. I'm obsessed with this cover. I love it so much. I loved everything about it. The second book I read and enjoyed this month was Ordinary People by Diana Evans. Now, a little bit of a disclaimer here. I don't think I was particularly fair to this book because I read it immediately after I finished Daisy Jones and the Six, and I think I was in a bit of a book hangover, and I just didn't think it compared to that, but you can't really compare them, they're very different things. Basically, Ordinary People is about two families living in London, two couples rather than families. It is Michael and Michelle Eminem, and Stephanie and, what is his name? Damien. And Melissa and Michael have just had another baby, and it's how she is struggling to keep her identity as a mother and as a Nigerian woman whilst remaining herself. It's like that battle between motherhood and the individual, and then Damien and Stephanie. Damien has just lost his dad and is struggling much more than he's prepared to admit, and it's how she's just desperately trying to help him and he just won't be helped. It's very bittersweet. So they're both Michael is Jamaican, or of Jamaican heritage. Melissa, I believe, is Nigerian, and I think Damien is Nigerian as well. I can't remember, that's terrible that I haven't picked up on that, but it's so wonderful, and it's about the dynamics between these couples, how they change. They're very good friends, and it's a very good book. Like I said, I don't think I was fair to this. It took me a lot longer to read than Daisy Jones and the Six, but the writing is beautiful, and it's very vivid as well. So it takes place in Crystal Palace, or it's in South London anyway, and there was bits that had me crying. It's very funny. It's really very good, but like I said, I probably wasn't fair to this when I read it because I just didn't enjoy it as much as Daisy Jones. But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. They're very different books. It was good, so I definitely recommend that. So my next favourite book that I read this month and absolutely loved is The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. Now, fun fact, Beth O'Leary follows me on Instagram. How cool is that? I absolutely adored this. I read it in like 2 days, I think. I actually bought it for myself as a little birthday present because my birthday is in April, and I had been wanting to read it for ages. It's only just come out, but there was a lot of hype around it online, and it is just brilliant. It is so worth the hype. So basically, The Flatshare is about Tiffy and Leon, who share a flat and a bed, although they've never actually met. So Leon is a night nurse for hospice patients. Yep, that's right. I don't know why I'm being all weird about that. And Tiffy's a book editor. So they're never actually in the flat at the same time. But the book is told chapter by chapter from their perspectives, but they've never actually met, but they communicate mostly through post-it notes, and it's just so good. It's such a wonderful story of like friendship, and obviously it's a love story. I'm not going to ruin it, but there is love in it, and it's just so wonderful. I read this so quickly. I think it's the sort of like the perfect beach read in that it's so easy to read, it's so well written, it tackles some really like deep issues, like it talks about domestic abuse, but emotional abuse, gaslighting, it talks about race, it talks about prison. It's so interesting and so well written, but it's also very light and very easy to digest. It's just wonderful. I loved it so much, to the point where I have gone back and read like favourite chapters from it. It's brilliant. It's so good. So I thought I'd do all my books in one go because there's so many of them, and the next one is Midnight Chicken and Other Recipes Worth Living For by Ella Risbridger. Now I mentioned this in my massive book haul video, which I will link below, but I've just started reading it. I'm about halfway through and it's just brilliant. Now a lot of it is recipes, it's a recipe book, but the thing that I love the most about it is the sort of the prose around the recipes and the story that sort of ties them all together, and it's just lovely. Her writing is wonderful. So essentially it's Ella Risbridger at the beginning is struggling with depression, really bad depression. She tries to walk in front of a bus, and it's how food helps her to overcome that. Now obviously food isn't a cure for depression, and at no point does she say that, but it's sort of the things that remind her that actually life is worth living. And the first thing she talks about is the midnight chicken. So it's the meal she made when she came out of hospital after trying to walk in front of a bus, and it was just, she talks about like the garlicky, peppery, herby juices, and she talks a lot about the tall man who was her partner, I hate the word partner, her boyfriend John, who actually passed away from cancer, which is very sad, and she talks about him a lot throughout, and it's sort of like recipes are the whole point of the book is the recipes are in there, but it's the story around them that I think is just so wonderful and so sad, and it's just brilliant. And she says really profound, interesting things when talking about things like pie. Like she talked about the pie from Danny the Champion of the World and how it inspired a recipe for and how that recipe was used to go on picnics, and it's just, and how it actually caused an argument between her and the tall man because she tried to make it at 2 in the morning. That's what she calls her boyfriend in there. She calls him the tall man. I don't know if I've mentioned that already. And it's just such a wonderful story. It's quite, I'm going quite slowly through it because of the recipes, but I am reading all of it, and I just think it's such a wonderful book. I can't praise it enough. I love food writing. I love food writing. I've actually bought a lot of books recently. If you want to see another book haul video, let me know. I've bought loads again, but the last sort of 3 or 4 books I've bought have been about food. So there's Jay Rayner, there's A.A. Gill, Nigel Slater's Toast, and I adore reading about food. But I am not a cook. I am not a natural cook. I say this in every video, and so the interesting thing to me is the story about that. I think food is such an incredible vehicle for storytelling, and it's why I love things like Desert Island Dishes and, well, books like this, because I love the stories surrounding it. I love that you can talk about food and it's so evocative and it brings up all these memories. Like for me personally, as an example, my grandma, who passed away about 5 years ago, she used to make the most incredible sausage rolls, and that's the dish I most associate with her, and I most associate with my childhood, is these incredible sausage rolls. They were the flaky pastry, the meat that she got from the butchers. It was just an amazing thing. It was always such a treat for her to do them, and yeah, it's such a lovely warm memory. And now that's something I do at Christmas, is that I make those sausage rolls, or I make sausage plat, which is essentially a big sausage roll but a bit fancier, and that's something I'm now becoming known for in my family, and I think that's such a wonderful thing. And those are the bits that keep me coming back to read this. I love like the in-betweeny bits. It's just, it's wonderful. It's beautiful writing. So I recommend this to anyone who likes food but who likes reading about mental health. It's wonderful and it's stunning. The illustrations throughout this book are beautiful, and this I think is the longest piece of footage I've ever shot for a video ever, and that's not a joke. Okay, I'll keep this one brief because I talked so much about Midnight Chicken. This is Comfort Zones, which is an anthology of essays that was, who did it? So it's for Women International, and it was done by Jigsaw, and also Sonda and Tell were the editors, and it is so wonderful. Now I've been reading this alongside Midnight Chicken as kind of sort of a break from all the food, and it's just brilliant. I'm about halfway through, like I said, and already there has been some standout essays. The first one that I really loved was by Phoebe Lovatt, and it's basically about sort of coping with life and being successful and why success in women is mistrusted. And she just says the most amazing thing in where it's on page 19, and she said, "Fear I finally understood takes many forms. Some are just more socially acceptable than others. I might not be freaked out by public speaking or solo travel, but I was scared that I'd never feel successful enough, scared I'd never feel I'd worked or tried hard enough, and more than anything, scared I would never feel like enough. Being human is scary." And that spoke to me completely, because that, I think, is something that we all suffer with. But it was something I talked about in a blog post last month, where I don't give myself enough credit for all the work I do. So I'm not a full-time YouTuber or a blogger. I am a journalist, and I do this on the side, and whilst doing that I also freelance, and so I am constantly working, and I've kind of got it into myself that if I don't do that, then I'm failing. And it's quite a scary notion, and it was so amazing to sort of see someone else, someone incredibly successful, put that into words. So yeah, I am obsessed with this. I think it's amazing. It also does good. A lot of the proceeds, I can't remember how much, all proceeds are going to Women International. It's just an excellent book that also does good in the world. So if you haven't got a copy of this already, I definitely think you should. It's brilliant. So those are all my books, but now we have to talk about my record of the month, and that is Wild Heart, or The Wild Heart, sorry, by Stevie Nicks. I'm going to take it out of this plastic sleeve so you can actually see it. Now this was a birthday present from my mother, but I went in and picked it. There's a record shop in my hometown, and it's really cool. I think it's called Revolutions or the Vinyl Lounge, one of the two, I can't remember which, but it's a coffee shop and a record shop, and we went in there just before my birthday, and I saw this and was like, "This please mummy," and it's just brilliant. I love Stevie Nicks, as you all know. I'm going to see Fleetwood Mac in June, which feels very soon now that we're in May, and yeah, and I just really love this. As you know, vinyl is my thing. I love it. And so highlights from this are If Anyone Falls, which is one of my favourite songs anyway, Stand Back, which is my going out song. Like, I play that and I just get pumped and then I go out. And also, what else is on here? Nightbird, I Will Run to You with Tom Petty. It's just, it's so good. Okay, I've still got loads to talk about, but like nothing physical to show you now. But let's talk about Fleabag, shall we? Oh my god, I've actually got tickets to go see it live. I say ticket. It was unbelievably expensive, but like literally wiped me out for the rest of the month, but so excited to go. I'm going, I can't remember when I'm going actually, but yeah, going to see it live, really excited. But I loved Fleabag so much. I hadn't actually watched it. I'd read a lot about it online, read a lot of newspaper articles about it and how good it was supposed to be, and I just oh yeah, my best friend came round and she was like, "Just watch it, it's brilliant." So we put it on, and oh my god, it's brilliant. It's so funny. Now I don't want to ruin anything for anyone that hasn't watched it. I know most of the world has, but there's just this one moment in series 1, I think it is in the first episode, that every time I think about it, I've talked about it with my mum, I've made my sister watch it, every time I think about it, this just makes me laugh. And she's with this really ridiculous, sort of sentimental, very overly sensitive musician type of guy called Harry. Harry is one of the only characters that is named, and he's like saying they need to change their relationship and they need to surprise each other more. So she surprises him by putting a baklava on and getting a knife and following him into the shower. And she just, there's the whole thing with Fleabag is that she acknowledges the camera and it's like breaking the fourth wall, and it's very meta. And there's just this moment where she looks at the camera and she's like, it's like, oh, this is such a good idea and it's such a bad idea, and it's so funny. And he just, there's this moment where he screams and he doesn't stop screaming, and then he just calms down and he's like, "Hello, are you alright?" And then he starts starts screaming again. He's like, oh, I remembered it. It's so funny. I'm doing such a bad job of like explaining it, but I absolutely loved it. Watched it very, very quickly. Waited until season 2 finished, and then watched all of it. And I watched it in a weekend, and it's absolutely fantastic. Like, it's so funny. It's heartbreaking in places. I adore the relationship between Claire and Fleabag. It's just amazing. Like, it's so good. It's unbelievably funny. That's all I can say. It's funny, and I loved it. I loved it so much. So if you haven't watched it yet, watch it. It's so good. While we're on the subject of Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is now my personal hero and probably the personal hero of every millennial woman across the country, if not the world, let's talk about Killing Eve. That's good, isn't it? I've only watched the first 2 episodes for reasons I will explain in a minute, but it is brilliant. Now, I don't really have a binge watching mentality. My attention span tends to run for about an hour, so I don't really watch a lot of films, and I don't binge watch series. If a series is longer than, if an episode is longer than sort of 40 minutes, then I can't get into it because it just feels like a long time. So I haven't binge watched Killing Eve, but the first 2 episodes I watched very quickly and very close together, almost immediately after I finished watching Fleabag, and it is just fantastic. It's very dark, it's very dramatic, it's very funny. Keep knocking my tripod, I'm sorry. And the clothes are amazing, and Sandra Oh is incredible, and her hair, like, as a fellow curly girl, like, I appreciate it when curly haired women are on telly. That's a ridiculous thing to say, but yeah, her hair's amazing, and it's just so good. It's so good. So I want to get that all finished before season 2 comes out, which I'm not sure when that will be, but I know it's out in America already. But it's just brilliant. It's so fantastic. Okay, not to sound like the most basic person ever, but my next favourite is Game of Thrones. Now, I first tried to watch Game of Thrones in my last year at uni when I was trying to do my dissertation, which was a mistake because I had so much work to do that I did not have time to watch Game of Thrones. So I watched, I think, the first 3 episodes, and then I stopped. And then I told my friend Benny, who won't be watching this and haven't spoke to in a little while, but hey Ben, how you doing? And he sent me a WhatsApp message of literally everything that happened between the beginning to, I think it was the end of season 4, which was the point it was at that time, and basically ruined everything. So for the past 4 years since then, I've kind of kept up with what's going on. So I know everything. I know all the spoilers, but I'd never actually watched it. And then I started watching it because at this point I know so much about everything that's happening. I'm just kind of contextualizing what I know. Like, literally, I know what happened in the last episode. I'm really okay with spoilers, by the way. I looked them up. I've literally read every single BuzzFeed article where it's like, spoilers. I know what happens, and I know that the last episode was almost too hard to watch because of how dark it was in terms of actual lighting, not content. Anyway, I have finished now watching the first series. I am on literally the first episode of series 2, and I love it. I was not expecting to love it as much as I do. It's not really my cup of tea. Like, fantasy, yes, but not medieval. I've had quite a lot of thoughts whilst watching it, which is mostly, I don't like how often horses die, and I don't like seeing that. That's why I don't like The Mountain. Also, jousting. What the fuck is that? Like, I know jousting is a real thing, like, was a real medieval sport, but why? Like, millions of years of human evolution, and we come up with jousting. What the fuck is jousting? Like, I'm not even joking, it's insane to me. And then, but yeah, so that's a weird tangent, but that is something I thought. And also, I will put a spoiler thing on this if you haven't watched Game of Thrones. Spoilers. But yeah, I knew that Ned Stark was going to die. I knew about that. I also know that Joffrey's going to die. Can't wait for that after his reaction to, well, actually, not his reaction, to his decision to kill Ned in front of his daughter and then making Sansa look at the head. He can fuck off. I can't wait for him to die. It's dark, sorry. But yeah, I knew that Ned was going to die. I was not expecting my reaction. I was at work, I was watching it on my iPad at work in my lunch hour, and I ugly cried in front of people I worked with. And then I just spent the rest of the day like, what do I do? Do I just carry on with my day? Like, Ned Stark is dead. Do I just carry on? What do I do? Do I not get compassionate leave for this? So yeah, it was very emotional. Also, the bit at the end of series 1 where the dragons are born and Dany comes out of the fire. Oh, it's beautiful. It's wonderful telly. So yeah, I've now been set the challenge by people at work to finish it before series 8 finishes, because I only have until the end of this month before it all comes off of Now TV anyway, so I have to get my arse in gear and get back into a binge watching mentality. But that is why I've only watched the first 2 episodes of Killing Eve. I've been a bit weird in this video and I'm sorry for that. This has also gone on for nearly 4 minutes. This is going to be a long video. Sorry. So I am, my next favourite is music related again. And there's 2 bands that I've been absolutely loving this month, more so than usual. Obviously you all know that my favourite band is Biffle. This doesn't change anything. But the Excerts and Paris Youth Foundation. Now I went to see the Excerts at the Garage in Islington at the beginning of April and I absolutely loved it. I vlogged it, you can watch the vlog. I really enjoyed it. You actually got to see a side of me that I don't normally show. So I have OCD. I was diagnosed about 5 years ago. I've struggled with it since I was about 10 and yeah, it came out. So I went to that gig on my own, which I am fine with, have absolutely no problem doing anything on my own. But you can see that I am panicky in it. So like, I was convinced I'd left my straighteners on the whole time, even though I'd unplugged them. And it's things like that with my particular type of OCD. My compulsion is hand washing, by the way. But with my particular type of OCD, I focus on things and convince myself that bad things are happening if I'm nervous. So because I was nervous about going to the gig by myself, even though I shouldn't have been, I've done it many times before. I am a person, we're weird and broken. Yeah, so I'd convinced myself that I'd burnt my house down because I'd left my straighteners on. So it was only sort of that I calmed down when I got there, and then it got bad again on my way home, so I didn't really vlog on the way home. Anyway, you can watch that video, it's a separate thing. I had the best time at that gig. I had such a good time. The Excerts I actually saw supporting Biffy in September last year and I liked them, but I was there to see Biffy Clyro, so I wasn't paying any attention to them really. But then after I started listening to their music, it was kind of a slow burn and then I just loved them. So when the gig came up, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go see them. Like, I feel like I owe it to them. I didn't pay enough attention last time and it was fantastic. The music was amazing. I was right at the front. I was like 2 people away from the barriers. I got some amazing like footage and Instagram shots and it was just such a great gig. But there have been 2 songs that I've been playing constantly for the last month that are theirs, and one is Kevin Costner, which I didn't play, which was annoying because I love that song. It's inexplicably named. I don't know why it's called that, but it's actually the most beautiful, heartbreaking sort of love and loss song. Oh, that's my flatmate, if you can hear for 5 seconds, it's fine. It's just about relationships when they go bad, but you kind of do it anyway. It's just the most amazing song. It's so beautiful. And the other one is Ready to Call. It's just such a good song. It's a bit of a banger. I loved it. I was so happy when they played it. That's actually off their latest EP, Wild Heart Dreamin'. But I had such a great time at that gig. And that brings me to Paris Youth Foundation, because Paris Youth Foundation was supporting the Excerts and they were a revelation. I think I'd heard of them maybe once or twice in passing but not really paid attention, and they were a revelation. They were amazing, like really amazing. So their story is incredible. They have this song called If You Wanna, which is great. They uploaded that to SoundCloud and off the back of that song they got booked to play at Reading and Leeds. What a story. That's so incredible. That's such an amazing thing to happen. The internet's a wonderful place, mostly. And but yeah, they were just amazing. I absolutely loved their set and I have downloaded pretty much all of their music since then and I just can't stop listening to it. My personal favourites are If You Wanna, which is one I've already mentioned. I Can't Keep Up With Your Love and look what you started, and also you haven't loved until you've lost. It's just brilliant. They are sort of like alt rock, indie pop, kind of in the middle of that sort of genre thing. They span many genres, but it's incredible. Their lyrics are absolutely heartbreaking. Like, it's about totally about love, lost love and heartbreak, and how you can be in love with someone and they can hurt you, and how you can be in love with someone from afar and be hurting. And obviously it's been inspired by a breakup, I can only assume. It's amazing, but the song structure and the music and the melody and all of the technical crap that I don't know the name for, all of that is so happy and so optimistic and wonderful. So it's just one of those things where until you listen to the music, like actually listen to the words, you don't realise how sad it is. But it's brilliant. I've really loved their music this month, so much so, like, just constantly. I love them. So that is everything from my April favourites. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications and all that jazz, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!